And what we have here is another informative video on heating cables and what not to do. These cables aren't working right here, and I just want to focus a little on the installation of the job at hand. What we need to check first is to see if the cables are installed at the proper height. If we go down and look underneath the soffit, we have a 12-inch soffit, and according to the manufacturer specifications, the cables have to be at least a minimum of 6 inches past the warm wall. So which means if we have a 12-inch soffit, these cables should be 17 inches high. Each course here is 5 inches, so we do simple mathematics: 5, 10, 15, 20. We're 20 inches up on a 12-inch soffit, so we're well within the manufacturer recommendations. The other thing is that the cables need to be 15 inches apart. Each one of these shingles here is about 12 inches long. So what you can see is that we're 1, 2, 2.5. We're definitely over 2 feet in distance between these two peaks, which is definitely more than 15 inches, so they weren't installed right. The other thing we can tell is that the cables were actually tarred underneath instead of clipped. The clips here are supposed to clip around the shingle, and the teeth will hold it in place. There's some teeth there. That'll help hold it in place. Obviously the tar has come loose and these have popped out. That'll continue to happen. Now we have ice in the gutters here because the cables aren't actually working. So besides the fact that they weren't installed properly, we need to find out why the cables aren't working. One of the things we're going to do is we'll start to look at the installation pattern and continue to diagnose that a little further. And what we find here is that you see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cables all zip tied together on this bracket here in the gutter. Now, according to manufacturer's specifications and limitations, the cables aren't allowed to touch, and not only are we touching, we're overlapping and then zip tying them real tight together. That can cause an overheating in the cable, which then cause them to short out. You can see we have that again on another hanger down further in the gutter. What we're going to do from here is we're going to go down to the bottom, and we're going to check to see if we have power, because sometimes it's just as simple as throwing a switch to get these things up and running. It's possible it could switch a circuit breaker inside the house, or if the house is built by code, the outside outlet would have a GFI outlet for plugging in. Now a GFI outlet has a built-in circuit breaker. What we're going to do is we're going to get a little electrical tester, which can be picked up for a reasonable price at any hardware store, any local Ace, Home Depot, Lowe's kind of a thing. We're going to check the power, and as you can see there, we do have power. So we know the outlet's good. Next thing we do is we're going to check the cable, see if the cable has power, and as you can tell, we have power. So we have power at the outlet, we have power on the cable. So the last thing to check is to see if there's power on the heating coil at the top of the roof. The simplest way to do this is to just feel it with your bare hand. If the cable's warm to the touch after being plugged in for about 5 minutes, then you can pretty well guess that it's working. If it's not, it's probably not. So we're going to go ahead and check this one out again with that nifty little cable head. Now you can see I'm touching it here and we're getting no sound at all. I'm not getting any power. So that tells me somewhere in this cable there's a short, and we're going to have to replace the cable. That's it for now, and I hope found this video informative here from Honeydew Men, Gutters and Roofs.